Hello, hello, hello. Today I'd like to share with you what does it mean to be a Jew. So there are 1,001, if Jews are anything as we've been described, the people of the book. But to understand anything, you have to go to its essence. So if I said, what is a doctor? And obviously, a doctor's not somebody in a lab coat, because there are technicians in lab coats. A doctor is a healer. He's here to heal people. And so what is a Jew? A Jew is 5 things. First and foremost, a Jew has a Jewish soul. And every single human being has at least 2 souls. What makes us different to animals is not only do we have an emotional side, all animals have emotional sides, we also have an intellectual side. So animals don't have intellectual sides. They're not curious, right? As long as it's good for them, or as long as it's not going to harm them, their emotions really aren't aroused. But a human being gets curious. Now, obviously, if we're in a highly emotional state, that may take over the mind. But if we're not in a highly emotional state, we're feeling safe, as we see cultures and societies that are prosperous, they begin to think and develop sciences, etc., etc. So where does this curiosity come from? Right? The animals, some of them are actually geniuses, literally geniuses. Bees can calculate distances to flowers better than supercomputers. So how does that happen? And that's a calculation that's being done. They actually communicate. They do a little dance and they tell each other where these flowers are. So in certain respects, animals are smarter than humans in certain capabilities. However, their entire existence is based on emotions. As Einstein says, it's all instinctual. A human being can change, and that's a remarkable thing to change, to say, I'm going to diet. It feels good, but I'm going to die. Cows don't go on diets. If animals get addicted to drugs, which they can be, they'll take it till they die. They can't change. Human beings may have a hard time changing, but the very fact that we have a mind means if we want to change, we can change. However, a Jew has a third soul, which is God basically unites with him, and therefore a Jew has, and we see this quite empirically, a very, very strong spiritual side. You take Jews who aren't brought up with spirituality, disproportionately they're more spiritual. And so they're seeking God, they're seeking the truth because they have this tremendous yearning for God and for a higher purpose. And that's the godly soul. And Jews, of course, are also a family. We all come from Abraham. Of course, you can convert into Judaism, but that's the fundamental concept, is that we're a family. We also have a land. We have Israel. So in a certain sense, we're a nationality. We certainly have a shared destiny. We have a religion. And as all religions, we have a story. We have a history. And the story is that God took us out of Egypt and he gave us the 613 laws through his greatest prophet, Moses. And these laws are automatically binding. They are what a Jew does. And by doing these laws, we merit great merits, whether it's the next world, whether it's the coming of Mashiach, or as well as blessings in this world. And so this is our common story, our religion, our history, our destiny. And most importantly, being a Jew means to be a light unto the nations. In other words, this is a very deep, deep, deep concept, and that is that everybody is God's child. Everyone, and perhaps everything that God made. If you would make even a cockroach, you'd be pretty proud of your amazing invention. So God has a love for everything that he ever made. However, we see in the family unit, which really has tremendous representation of a divine kind of lifestyle. I don't want to go into all the details, but a lot of different ramifications. But one of the profound ramifications is you have the parents. The parents are sort of like the God figure. There's the father, who's ideally representing the ideal, and the mother, who takes care of the physical. And then there's the siblings, and the siblings learn from the parents. And the eldest son, in fact, the Torah clearly states that you have to give the eldest son a double portion, rashis oini. And psychologically, a psychologist once told me this, we place our greatest expectations on our oldest child. And it's true, I saw that. Why is that? Because perhaps the divine reason is that we know that this child is going to be the role model for the next children. So if this child comes right, the next children will come right. And so therefore, the oldest child is really a gifted child, because that child has to be able to transmit the values to the next children, because basically people learn from role models. So to the extent that I have good role models, the extent that I have a possibility of being good. If I don't have good role models, I don't have a possibility of being good. And so this is a critical factor, because obviously God gives free choice. And so if everybody was Jewish, there would be no free choice. That's what everybody would be doing. Or if even everybody was a certain religion. But because you have this one group of people, which had tremendous effort from God to even get us to do His will, where it was so rock solid. Studies show that the only people that were really able to withstand all the tortures against just to give up their faith, because all conquering nations often wanted everyone to go to their faith, were the Jews. And so this is a tremendous ability to say, this is what's right, and I'm going to do what's right. You even have stories in the Holocaust where people came to the rabbi, okay, so there's 10 people, God forbid, the Nazis are going to kill. My son's on the list. I could take him off. But that means someone else is going to be killed. Am I allowed to do it? Unbelievable. And that's ingrained in every Orthodox Jew to follow the law. That's not even a question. So the point is this idea of having a value system, right versus wrong, not just a dog-eat-dog world. So this is something God wanted. But He wants it to come through free choice. So He planted the Jews all over the world, particularly here in America. And therefore, people that are seeking truth would have people to look at. As one Russian writer said, if you're not looking for the truth and you see a Jew, you see nothing. If you're looking for the truth and you see a Jew, you see everything.